I would like to invite every one of you to join me as we reimagine the future of aging. Before I joined the elder care industry, I was actually a brand strategist for about 9 years. And I still remember the first day when I joined the company, I was told what a brand was. So a brand, it's the sum of all brand communications and brand experiences. And it's very typical for a marketer to actually measure the success of a brand by measuring the brand perception. That is, if the consumer perceived the brand the same way as it intended to portray. In short, brand perception means the sum of all the feelings a consumer has for a brand. And I remember when I was a brand strategist, I helped companies to build brands by developing their brand positioning, key messages, taglines, slogans, brand architecture. And after about 9 years, I really wanted to do something different. I really wanted to make a change, especially for those who are aged. So I decided I quit my consulting job. It was actually quite scary and uncomfortable at first. But I thought, why not? So I entered into the elder care industry. And when I first joined, I spoke to my friends about it and some of my former clients and colleagues, and they thought I was actually entering into an elderly home to do nursing care work. And I was shocked to find out how little people know about what the elder care industry does. But I don't blame them, because for most people, their first experience when they are in touch with elder care, it's usually negative. For most people who approached me, it's sometimes when their family members needed emergencies in terms of healthcare needs. Or they might be looking for accommodations for their family members who are being discharged from hospitals. They usually approach me feeling very anxious, very frightened, very worried. And these are usually some of the first experiences most people have when they are in touch with the word elder care. After all, having a career in the elder care industry isn't so sexy or appealing. Most people perceive aged care or aging as something rather undesirable or unfavorable or even unexciting. I remember when I first started out, I was looking for stock images for my PowerPoint presentation. Very typical of a brand consultant trying to put together PPT decks. And all I could find online was elders who look old, weak, frail, and that typical image with that wrinkly hand model that everybody sees on the search engine. While most media, it's associated with negative and unfavorable messages. Despite all the progress that we have made in the past few years, in the past decade by the Hong Kong government, where we have great improvement on germ technology and social innovation, the way aging is being perceived, it's still rather negative in the media. Aging, it's ultimately stigmatized. And while all these negative thoughts and feelings that originates from the fear of aging, it's considered ageism. Ageism isolates and marginalizes people of age. Ageism assumes people that they are less capable because they are of older age. Today, it is actually not acceptable to stereotype people based on their gender, based on their sexual orientation, or based on their age or their race. So why is it still acceptable to do that to people of age? Think about that. While all these negative attitudes spawns negative feelings, it also creates a negative reality of aging. United Nations recently launched a report saying that ageism, in fact, leads to poor health. It also creates social isolation. It leads to earlier deaths and cost economies. We should all tackle ageism because ultimately it would all come back to us because all of us here would one day become old. So you might ask me, Queenie, why does it matter to me? I'm still really young. Because aging is part of our circle of life, and it happens to everyone, both biologically and mentally. And I'm sure you may have grannies or family members who are also experiencing these signs of aging. And because aging is considered as UN's one of their 5 megatrends in the world, it's estimated that 1.5 billion of people will turn 65 years old in 2050. If you look into some of these data today and look at the data back in the 1950s, the life expectancy at the world back then was 47 years old, and today it's 73. We have outlived many of our ancestors. And according to the UN, if you retire today at 65, it is expected that you will live another 17 years. The years that we spend in elderhood will soon surpass adolescence or adulthood. Similar to many developed places around the world, Hong Kong is also faced with a rapidly aging landscape where we have an expanding segment of 65 plus people in the next decade. And it is estimated that in 2036, 1 in every 3 people will turn 65 years old. Hong Kong has in fact surpassed Japan in both male and female life expectancy at birth. And if these numbers don't shock you or alarm you in any way, imagine which stage of life you'll be at in about 15 years. I would be in my 50s while my parents in their 80s. Since joining the eldercare industry, I've reconnected with many of my friends from secondary schools. And I felt really popular, not because they wanted to ask me out to hang out, but they would call me up to ask me for advices for their grandparents or their parents on what products to use or which elderly homes are better for them. In reality, aging is happening around us and happening to the people that we love. While our aging segment is growing, there's also greater implications on our society. We're going to encounter some of the major demographic changes in Hong Kong between 2017 and 2036, including increasing median age, rising dependency ratio, shrinking labor force, and just to name a few examples. And while all these still don't strike you, aged care or aging is not an industry alone. It actually impacts all aspects of life and all aspects of society. From how a city is being built or planned, how our welfare policy is being shaped, how that affects technology and healthcare. Aging has great impact on everything we do, and it's becoming more prevalent. It's not only affecting our society, but it's also happening at our workplace, at the people around us. For those who have family members who are actually now in elderly homes or have been following news about this industry, have you ever questioned why elders in Hong Kong are living in crowded partitions or bad quarters with poor hygiene, limited food options, and little privacies? Why elders in Hong Kong fear entering into elderly homes? Why elders living in care facilities in Hong Kong are placed on a very tight schedule where they have to wake up at 7 and shower at 7, have lunch at 10:30, dinner at 4:30 p.m., and sleep right afterwards. With all these questions in mind, what can we do as a society? Can we pause for a moment and think about the type of environment we want to create for our elders? Can we strike a balance between operation convenience and user-centric design? Can we fit the care to the people, but not fit the person into the care system? As our society is gradually adapting to an aging population, our so-called elders are also evolving. They're no longer the weak, the frail, or the gray hair. Instead, they are the highly educated, highly sophisticated, very tech-savvy, exactly like the picture right here. This is actually my mom who has actually turned 67 this year, and I'm sure she's now tuning in and very angry that I have posted her picture. I love my mom, and she is very fit, very active. She still goes to work every day, and I admire her work ethic. And I wish I would be like her when I'm at her age. When I think of my mom, I fear what society offers now may not be able to please her ideal retirement life. As a daughter, I would love to be able to give her the best. It's important as a society that we are progressing in the same pace so that we are also providing services that are adapting to the changing needs of our consumers. As I think about ageism and how it has imposed limitations on how we are progressing in society today, I look back to all the places that I've been able to travel to and all the best practices. From Finland to Denmark, Belgium to Japan, I've witnessed true human-centered design and services that are not only innovative, but also meaningful. I had been to the Lake of Dreams village in Japan where elders can play all day like in a gaming arcade. I visited a care home in Denmark where pets are welcomed as care companion. I've smelled the scent of fresh scallions and miso soup at care homes in Japan where residents are given food that tastes like home, and even Michelin star-like dining experiences. I had a drink at the bar in this care home in Belgium. All of these service innovations are not considered cool or sexy, but they are definitely wonderful touch points or initiatives. And they are also things that I'm inspired to bring to Hong Kong. Sometimes when I think about innovation, it doesn't necessarily mean creating things from scratch, but in fact, making progress in areas that are deemed important, or fulfilling service gaps in areas that matter. As I ponder what innovation means and what we can do here in Hong Kong, I would like to ask you to take a moment to think about the following questions. Can we reimage the way we portray old through imagery? As a brand veteran, imagery are powerful tools that could evoke emotions and feelings. That is why I couldn't help it. But when I first started, I created my own image library. It was the first project that I did to create this platform for myself, where I could showcase the energy and the beauty of elders. Can we rephrase the way we address an older person? Did you know that there's a genuine difference between the word elderly and elder? Language makes a world of difference in how it shapes our culture. So let's start by changing the way we speak, because words matter. I often meet people from different fields of products and service design. By leveraging design thinking, how can we strike a balance between form and function, and perhaps create mobility aid that is stylish, but also IoT enabled? How can we enable underprivileged elders to still use these quality assistive aids, perhaps by loaning it to them? How can we improve elders' quality of life and create a direct impact on their health, perhaps through food? Every day, older people are forced to navigate in an environment that is not built for them or designed for them or by them. Think of all the elders in Hong Kong who are afraid of going out or stepping out from their homes, who are afraid of that long flight of staircase because they're afraid of falling. Can we try to bring the outside world in and allow elders to enjoy the same way that we enjoy life? Can we help to redesign our environment so that it's inclusive of elders' needs? Although some of these examples might be foreign to you, and they are overseas, and you may ask me, what can we do in Hong Kong for elders in Hong Kong? And the things that I've shared today is just the tip of the iceberg. In fact, there are many pioneers in Hong Kong who are already making progress to deliver better care service. In order to accelerate what we do here in this field, we have to start from education, and we have to work together to drive change. Let's think of changing the way we speak about aging. Let's think about changing the way we reimage aging. Let's think about better social service design that is relevant to elders' needs. And let's think about creating an age-friendly environment so that everybody can thrive in this community. We think about all these questions every day, because if we don't make change now, then when? This is why We venture into schools. We speak to students about aging. We engage them in meaningful conversations. And we wanted to ask them to join us as we create this meaningful journey together and cultivate a culture that is built upon empathy and care. As I am about to wrap up my presentation, I would like to end it with one of my favorite songs by one of my favorite artists, Michael Jackson, the king of pop. In his song, The Man in the Mirror, it wrote, "I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways." And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. After all, if you want to create the change in the world, you have to first start from yourself, from within. In branding, we have something called brand purpose, and I'm sure I have found my brand purpose. As I look back, the nature of my current work isn't actually so different from what I used to be as a brand strategist. But I definitely have felt a stronger, a deeper, and more profound meaning in the work that I do, and an immense sense of responsibility and mission to create change. Every day I get to challenge the status quo, give eldercare new meaning, and breathe new life to it. And that is why I actually don't mind being dressed up by my colleagues as Captain Soft Meal, so that we can still promote what is called dignity dining, to provide elders with choices in what they eat so that they can improve on their quality of life. I hope one day I get to redefine what aging means and what it looks like. I have found my calling both professionally and personally. And I hope that my sharing today has inspired you in some ways. Try to make a change from yourself, even baby steps. Let's advocate age-positive messages. Let's reimagine the future of aging together. Thank you.